The Troubles was a period of sectarian violence between Protestant loyalists, who wanted to stay a part of the United Kingdom, and Catholic nationalists, who wanted Northern and Southern Ireland to be one united Ireland. It all began in 1968. The Northern Irish Parliament, dominated by loyalists, made attempts to stop discrimination against the Catholic minority. However, loyalists thought that it was being done way too quickly, while nationalists thought that it was being done too slowly. This, combined with a biased RUC, increased tensions between the two communities. In 1969, despite police warnings not to, a Protestant parade moved through the Bogside, a Catholic area in Derry. Protestants and Catholics would then clash, quickly turning into a riot, prompting the RUC police force to crack down. This became known as the Battle of the Bogside, and the RUC police force was being overwhelmed. British troops were sent into Northern Ireland to assist the RUC and protect the Protestants and Catholics from each other.
We had barricades, barbed wire, and so we set up partitions between the two sides.
The IRA, a paramilitary force that fought in the Irish Independence War, started to protect nationalist communities, who thought that the army was not doing enough to stop violence against them. Loyalist paramilitaries would also emerge, engaging in firefights with the IRA. In 1971, the army and the RUC would launch Operation Demetrius, with the objective of disarming and arresting paramilitaries on both sides. British soldiers launched raids throughout Northern Ireland, resulting in the deaths of 20 civilians, 2 IRA members, and 2 British soldiers. Operation Demetrius, however, was biased against the nationalists, which diminished the army's national support. In January 1972, the British Army and RUC oversaw the protest march in Derry. Gangs would start throwing rocks at the British Army, provoking the soldiers to open fire. 28 unarmed civilians were shot in what would be known as Bloody Sunday. The IRA would then detonate 22 car bombs in Belfast, killing 9 people. Paramilitary loyalists would then set up checkpoints and no-go areas to monitor the streets. The IRA would then also do the same. These areas would be protected and patrolled by armed paramilitary members. The British Army would then launch Operation Mortarman, overrunning the barricades of troops, armored vehicles, and tanks.
Well, the operation's gone very well. As a result of what we started at 4 o'clock this morning, the position now in Northern Ireland is that anyone can go anywhere at any time. And that's what I wanted to achieve.
In 1973, the IRA would start bombing London, shocking the British government. This prompted the government to start compromise. In 1974, the Sunningdale Agreement attempted to give the Irish government a role in Northern Ireland and to disband the Northern Irish Parliament, and replace it with a system that shared power equally between loyalists and nationalists. However, the loyalists saw this as giving in to terrorism, so they rejected the compromise. Loyalists organized a general strike, and after 2 weeks, the compromise collapsed. Also in 1974, the IRA would bomb Guildford, killing 5 people, and Birmingham, killing 21 people. And later in that year, the British government and IRA was able to negotiate a ceasefire, which would be broken in the following year. In January of 1976, members of the UVF attacked 2 Catholic families, killing 6, which led to a larger series of attacks on the Catholics. The IRA retaliated with the Kingsville Massacre, where they gunned down 10 Protestants. This horrific scene would be the climax of the killings, which stopped the chain of killings. By the year of 1979, the British Army became more effective in handling the IRA, which made the IRA more observant and inventive in the way they would attack. This led to a perfectly planned guerrilla attack. The Warren Point ambush, where IRA members bombed 2 British convoys, killing 18 without losing on their own. In 1980, Sinn Féin, the political wing of the IRA, participates in the Northern Ireland Assembly for the first time, which proves to the British Prime Minister that the IRA had some support. In 1984, the IRA attempts to assassinate the British Prime Minister and Parliament by bombing the Brighton Hotel. After this event, the IRA was seen as a terror organization and received armament from Libya. In 1985, the Anglo-Irish Agreement was signed, allowing talks between the Republic of Ireland and the UK that would lead to Ireland gaining an advisory role in Northern Ireland. With the goal of promoting cooperation between the countries, this, however, was initially opposed by loyalists and nationalists. Despite attempts at a compromise, the IRA continues its campaign of terror. The IRA would attack military and police barracks, and the military and police retaliated, killing 8 IRA members. The IRA also bombed a war memorial, killing 12 civilians. In 1989, the IRA would overrun an army checkpoint, killing 2 soldiers. In 1991, they failed in an attempt to assassinate the Prime Minister, shooting improvised mortars at 10 Downing Street. The IRA also attacked loyalist paramilitaries, attempting to bomb their leader in 1993, but failing and killing civilians and a member of the IRA instead. Another ceasefire was called in 1994, but the IRA broke it in 1996, bombing Canary Wharf and Manchester Centre, causing lots of financial damage. In 1998, a compromise was finally made. In the Good Friday Agreement, the Northern Ireland government implemented power sharing. The bias RUC would be monitored and would later be changed to PSNI. In the following years, Irish paramilitaries would start to disband and disarm. To add on to these political parties, groups like the Republic's Dissident Youth, much like the IRA, hope someday that they can liberate Ireland from what they believe is British oppression. After decades of conflict between the Republican Catholic and the Loyalist Unionist Protestants, some people on each side still feel oppressed by the other. Despite claims to disband and disarm, Gerald Solinas, a Tadwell organizer, says otherwise.
Previous years they've 3 blast bombs,
Really?
coffee jar bombs at police officers. They've fired at police officers with 9mm and heavy weapons like AK-47s with the intention of murdering police officers.
Just over there?
Just across the road, yeah.
Wow.
They've dropped blocks in police officers' heads, attempted murder, and it's been quite serious rioting.
Do you think as well maybe a lot of the anger from the kids comes from maybe a part of the poverty as well that's in Belfast?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of deprivation, but that's not the only thing. You know what I mean? When you've got a government and a parades commission who are sending out a message that if you're a violent extremist and you threaten someone with violence, then you're going to get your own way. What message does that send out in a democracy? So young people say, well, they're threatening violence and they're getting their own way. Maybe I should engage in that.
How much do perhaps the younger generation understand like the whole culture, the whole reason behind all this?
Well, they're starting to understand it even more now. I mean, we've had the removal of our country's flag, the Union Jack, from our City Hall, which has incensed the community and purely one-sided towards Republicans. It just seems that the British government will appease Republican Sinn Féin murderers at any cost.
From a political point of view, the government of the Republic of Ireland has some power on Northern Ireland. Other political parties, such as the Sinn Féin, still exist within the Northern Irish government. In fact, Sinn Féin is the 3rd largest party in Northern Ireland's government.
Try to see it my way. Only time will tell if I am right or I am wrong. While you see it your way, there's a chance that we might